Thank you, Victor. Thank you. Oh, you didn't ascend. You just moved. Okay. Okay, cool. Hi. We made it. Good morning. We survived Plaza Art Fair traffic. And Victor challenged me to try to say happy almost autumnal equinox, just to get the mouth moving after meditation. Good. So if I've not had the opportunity to meet you before, my name is Kyle Webster. I'm one of the teachers here at TBC. And I'll do a more thorough introduction here shortly, but I wanted to start by just doing a quick debrief of what we did in meditation there. So we tried a slightly different approach, connecting with the heart instead of the breath, thinking of someone or a pet or a place that we had limitless love for. And I asked a series of questions, and so let's debrief that a little. The first I asked was, what words come to mind to describe what you're feeling right now? And so give me a hand raise or a nod or a thumbs up if you felt any of these words. Warmth, peace, connection, stillness, wholeness. That's often what comes up when we allow ourselves to connect with the heart space and really feel that love that's always available. Anybody feel a little bit of inner tension or anxiety? Sense of discomfort? So that's, again, very normal. As I mentioned before, we spend most of our lives protecting our hearts by closing it, right? And so as we begin to allow it to open a little bit, some stuff's going to come up. But did you have a sense at all that beneath this stuff, there was a sense of this sort of stillness, warmth, and whatnot beneath the surface? The next question I asked was, how big do your problems feel right now? So again, give me a hand raise, a thumbs up, a head nod, if it felt like maybe you had some distance from your problems in that moment. Yeah. Like maybe they didn't have the same urgency or importance, or that we weren't so caught up reliving the past or pre-living the future. And so that's another nice benefit of our connecting with our hearts. It folds us completely here in this moment. The last one was, how worthy of love and respect do you feel right now? So give me a hand raise, a thumbs up, head nod if you felt like maybe you were enough in that moment. Like you were truly enough. And there was nothing more and nothing less you needed to do to be worthy of love and respect in that moment. Okay. So when we connect with that place in our hearts, we get this sense of warmth, inner peace, contentment. Our problems feel smaller or more distant. We're a little bit less bothered by the past, the future, and feel worthy of love and respect, completely enough in that moment. How nice would it be to live from that place every day? And that's exactly what I want to talk about today, is the inner peace. That what you just experienced is available to you in every moment of every day, regardless of the circumstances around you. So maybe you're wondering, who is this guy? Why aren't we getting Victor today? What's going on? I get it. So my name's Kyle Webster. I'm a teacher here at TBC. So I teach the Basics of Buddhism class. I teach the Unconditional Inner Peace class. I started the post-service discussion groups many, many years ago, and I do the new Om Sweet Om sort of new member orientation class. And also, I'm really grateful that some folks from the Sangha have invited me into their lives to do one-on-one guidance as well, as they work through their meditation practice and their path. And so thank you to those of you that have invited me in that way. So Victor and I were having lunch the other day. And as we chatted, we realized that we're sharing the Buddhist teachings in these small groups, these classes. But there's potentially some things in there that could benefit the broader Sangha. And so we asked if I'd be willing to adapt some of that and do some Dharma talks. And I was initially pretty hesitant because I'm a little more comfortable in a small group than I am sitting up here in front of everyone in the internet. But I'm embracing the butterflies, and we're going to do this. So I appreciate your patience and grace as I work my way through this. And this is the first talk coming out of that conversation. And I'm covering material that we discuss in a lot more detail in the Unconditional Inner Peace class. Now, what I'm sharing is near and dear to my heart because it's actually what brought me to the Buddhist path for the first time about 15 years ago. And if you'll indulge me, I'd like to take you back in time and tell you that story a little bit. So growing up, all I ever wanted to be was a father. That was what I understood was sort of the culmination of this journey of school, go to school, get a good job, have kids. Like that's what's going to bring us happiness. And so every decision I made as far back as I could remember was focused on that, right? So what kind of job I got, what kind of studies I did, right? To try to make sure that I'd be around as much as possible, could go to the baseball games, what have you. The city I lived in to make sure that the kid would have access to aunts and uncles and grandparents and family. The house I lived in to make sure they'd have nice schools and a place to play and on and on and on, right? And on May 19th of 2010, my dreams came true when my daughter Madeline was born. And then the next day, my life changed again when she passed away. Because again, my whole life had been built around being a father. This was everything I had ever wanted to be. It was my whole identity, my whole reason for being, the only thing I thought would bring lasting happiness. And it all just crumbled around me. And this ego that I had formed, right, just shattered. But then I felt this inner peace, this stillness that had absolutely no explanation. And here I was experiencing the absolute worst physical pain, emotional grief of my life. The one thing I wanted most was now out of reach, and everything felt like it was falling apart. And yet, there was this unexplainable sense that maybe everything was already okay. And in those moments, I found this profound connection with all that is, this peace, this wholeness, this stillness, this boundless love. And so I was really confused. And what I didn't know at the time that I've come to learn was that when that ego fell apart, what was left was my inner essential nature. And I just sort of fell into it. What we would here call the Buddha nature or a connection with bodhicitta. So if you remember when we finish service, we'll say, may the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And that's what I was connecting with. But again, I didn't know that. What I did know was that I wanted to connect with that place and to live my life from that place. Ideally, without having my whole life shatter every time I wanted to do that. And so that began the search that brought me to this Buddhist path. And as I started to get back to my new normal, right, that sense of inner peace faded away, right? The ego kind of reformed around a new identity. And I was just no longer naturally connected with that place, but I remembered what it was like. And I was like, I know it when I feel it. And so after 3 years of study and practice on this Buddhist path, I was able to occasionally stumble into it, sort of on accident, didn't really know why, it just would sort of happen. And then another 4 years after that, I finally discovered the cause and was able to reconnect with and live from that place in each moment consistently. And throughout that journey, I had a lot of support from teachers like Victor, like Robert, and others. And so this talk is my attempt to give back a little bit and to try to share some of what I've learned in the process. And I hope to share a bit today some of those benefits, give you some tools to learn how to connect with that place and live from it consistently day by day. So we did a bit of that in meditation, but I'd like to do it again, to try a slightly different visualization and exercise to come at it from a slightly different angle. So if you would, close your eyes again. And imagine your heart is like an empty vase. And now imagine that in your hand, you're holding a water pitcher filled with love. It's the purest love you can possibly imagine, shimmering and bright, full of potential. And now visualize yourself slowly pouring that love into the vase of your heart. As you first start to pour that love, notice what begins to shift within you. What do you feel physically as you pour this pure love into your heart? Perhaps a growing warmth in your heart space. Maybe a sense the heart is relaxing and opening. Continue to slowly fill your heart vase with this pure love and notice the physical sensations as your heart vase becomes more and more full. Now continue to pour until the vase of your heart begins to overflow. And as you do that, begin to share this extra pure love with the people and pets in your life that you hold dear, the people in the room around you. What you're feeling right now is a taste of the freedom that's possible through the Buddhist path. A taste of our inherent Buddha nature, our pure inner essence we can experience once we peel away the labels and the ego and the thinking. Nothing in your life needs to be different from how it already is for you to connect with this. You can connect with it in any moment, regardless of the circumstances around you. How liberating is that? How freeing is it to know that no one, no thing, and no circumstances can keep you from this inner peace? So keep a connection with the inner peace. Let's slowly come back together, opening our eyes. Let's do a quick debrief on that exercise. So again, similar to last time, give me a hand raise, a head nod, a thumbs up. If it maybe felt like you were coming home somehow. Like maybe you had a taste of true freedom in that moment. So now we've connected with this sense of unconditional inner peace, and we know that it's available at any moment. Got a sense for how to connect with it in meditation. The next step's learning how to live connected with it every day. And so this is, as with most things in Buddhism, deceptively simple, but not easy, right? What we need to do is place a small part of our attention in our heart in each moment by moment, over and over, day by day. Again, we take a small portion of our attention, place it in the heart space at each moment, over and over, day by day. As I said, it's simple, but it's not easy, right? And there's a quote that I love that my dear friend Steph brought into my life. It says, "The longest journey you'll ever take is the 18 inches from your head to your heart." Right? And each moment we need to take just a portion of that attention and put it down here. And the reason that works is because our experience of each moment depends on where we put our attention. And we really have two choices, right? Our heads or our hearts. When our attention is caught up in our heads, we tend to experience more separateness, more fear, more anxiety, more anger, more judgment, non-acceptance, resistance, right? Does that resonate at all? When we connect with the heart space, we feel connected, sense of peace, love, joy, stillness, non-judgment, sort of a sense of interconnectedness and wholeness. And so in every moment, we have this opportunity to choose where we place our attention, our heads, or our hearts. Now, if you're like most people, you were never, one, told that the heart was an option, right? I know I certainly don't recall hearing that. Perhaps it was shared at one point, but I certainly don't remember it. Two, you were probably encouraged to place your attention in your heads. So maybe you heard some of these phrases growing up. You need to think things through, right? Give it some thought. Or maybe put your thinking cap on, right? Like we're always told, think, right? We're rarely told feel. And so it's not really surprising that to this point, it's been a fairly automatic decision in each moment where our attention goes, right? It goes right up here. That's where we're always told to put it. And what the Buddha offered was this alternate approach, this opportunity to place a little bit of attention in our hearts. And the nice thing is it only takes a tiny portion of our attention. It doesn't have to consume our whole attention. It doesn't mean we can't think. It just means we take a tiny portion of it and place it here, and it can make a profound difference on your experience of each moment. It can bring in more context, more perspective into each moment. So again, it's straightforward, but not super easy to do. And what I'd like to do is share the reason why, and that's because we often forget that we have this choice, right? We'll sort of show up, it's the end of the day, and we'll realize, oh my gosh, I spent the whole day connected with my brain and at no point connect with my heart, right? So here are three techniques we can use to help us remember that we have a choice and to remember to reconnect with the heart space. So the first is a reminder word. And the idea of a reminder word is that when you think of it, you'll remember this experience. You'll remember the limitless love you have for someone in your life. You'll remember a vase in your heart space full of pure love, right? And the word I like to use is reconnect. Reconnect, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're reconnecting with our hearts. It's always there. That space is always there. We're just not connected with it, so we reconnect. So the first is having this reminder word as a shortcut to connect back with a sensation. The second is to use external reminders, right? So you can, for example, put some Post-it notes around the house. And you can put the word reconnect on it or just leave it blank. You'll probably know what it is, but you'll see something new in your environment and say, oh, what was that about? Oh, that's right, I can reconnect. And in that moment, just take a second and reconnect with your heart. You can also put, like I've got like a tiny little orange Buddha, and I'll move him around my house, sort of like Elf on the Shelf style. I'm like, oh, there he is today. And oh, he's gotten into the sugar, whatever. And remember to reconnect with my heart. The third technique, did you know that we have a really handy built-in tool that will tell us if we're connected with our heads or our hearts? Does anybody know what that tool is? We feel bad, right? When we're connected with our heads, we usually don't feel great. So think of a time when you're not feeling so great. Where was your attention? Right? It probably wasn't in your heart space, right? And so we can use that as an invitation that if we're not feeling great for some reason, something feels a little off, check in. Where's our attention? And just pull a small part of that down into the heart space. And I'd like to close by giving you a challenge as you go into the next week. As you go through each day, see if you can just twice consciously decide where to put your attention, shifting just a little bit from your head into your heart, and see what happens, right? Now, these can be fairly easy situations, like if you're driving, or maybe more challenging, like if you're having a conversation with a coworker or your partner. But notice what shifts in you, and bonus points if you can notice what shifts in other people as you start to show up connected with the heart space. It will feel odd at first, I promise, but you'll get used to it. And I hope you'll enjoy it. So again, this is skimming the surface of what we cover in the Unconditional Inner Peace class. So if you're interested in digging deeper, would invite you to join us. For our dear friends in the virtual Sangha, this is only an in-person class right now, but I'm thinking about doing a virtual one. So if you're interested, my email's up here, kylewebster1@gmail, or hit me on Discord. You can find me on the TBC website on the Talk with a Teacher button. And if anybody has any questions in general about the talk or anything else, I'm always open to have a conversation. And so with that, thank you for your presence. Thank you for your practice. And may your week be filled with a connection with your hearts.